Hello everyone, here is Radovan from BSS. In this video we will review useful commands related to Linux integration to Active Directory domain. First set of useful commands is related to Kerberos. So first useful command kinit username, in this case kinit administrator. Kinit command obtains or renews and cache Kerberos ticket. We can use this command to verify if our Kerberos setup was done correctly. If this command will finish successfully and we will be granted Kerberos ticket, then we can continue in our Linux to Active Directory integration, join domain and set up and start Winbind. Then you have klist command, which will gives you information about your Kerberos ticket, something like where did you get this ticket and what's the validation of the ticket. Then you have klist -l, which will display in list tickets in case if you are member of more domains, you will have list view of your tickets. Klist -d -e command will give you a list of Kerberos tickets, but also with type and encryption type. Then netads leave -u administrator is for leaving, if you want to leave domain. Netads join -s s tstAddC1 -u administrator use to join domain, and in case if you have only one domain, you don't need to specify -s tstAddC1 because that's tstAddC1 is a domain controller. But in case if you have more domains, you need to specify with S, you need to specify Windows Active Directory domain controller, to which Active Directory domain controller you wanna join. Then you have netads testjoin. That command use to test if your join of Active Directory domain was successful. Then you have netads DNS register. That command to use to register with DNS. It's in case if your registration during the joining domain was not successful and you want to register DNS later, you can use this netads DNS register command. Then you have netads info command. This command will gives you some information, basic information about your domain and domain controller. Then you have ntpdate command. So with ntpdate command and IP address or host name of your domain controller, you can query, you can verify what is the time offset between your Linux server and Active Directory domain controller server. Then you have netads status command, which gives you very extended information about your domain, about status of your membership, and also netads lookup. It will provide us with information about our domain controller. Then you have Linux system commands like getent passwd or getent passwd and some user, Active Directory user from your domain. So in case of getent passwd, you will get a list of all users, and you need to be sure that Active Directory domain controller users are included as well. if you wanna get information only about one particular user, you use get ntpdate and the name of the user, which is in our case tstdom01 / tstuser01. The same with getent group and the getent group for a particular Active Directory group. Also you can use id command and groups command to query ID of or verify ID of Active Directory user, or you can verify groups of Active Directory user and group IDs of Active Directory user. Then you have this wbinfo-p, wbinfo-u and -g commands. So wbinfo-p is for pinging, if pinging Winbind, if Winbind is running, then wbinfo-u is for querying Active Directory users, wbinfo-g is for querying Active Directory groups, wbinfo-i with username will gives you users user ID, primary group ID, user's home directory, user's login shell, user's full name. If you wanna challenge only password, you use wbinfo-a command, which will challenge if password is successful. Then you have other useful wbinfo commands like wbinfo command -t, which verify if Linux server trust account created when the Samba server was added to the Windows Active Directory domain is working, and -r and username to obtain the list of Unix group IDs to which the user belongs. And the important thing to know is also how to remove Winbind cache. For example, if you upgrade Winbind and you wanna be sure that Winbind is working, if IDs are not taken from cache, you need to do stop of Winbind and Samba and NetBIOS services, and then you need to use command netcache flush to flush Winbind cache, and then you need to remove some database files in varlib Samba directory, and then once files will be removed and cache will be flashed, then you can start Winbind again. These are the most used Winbind and netads commands and Kerberos commands and commands related to integration of Linux servers to Active Directory domain using Winbind. If you wanna know also how to install Active Directory domain and set up Active Directory domain, how to install Active Directory services, how to install services for Unix, which are now called identity management for Unix to Windows Server. If you want to know how to join Windows Desktop to Active Directory domain, and if you want to know how to configure Linux server to be domain member, Active Directory domain member, please check video description and all related links to all related videos to Linux integration to Active Directory domain. So see you very shortly with a hands-on exercise in our test lab. Now I'll show you some small quick Winbind and Kerberos commands. It will be only quick walk through the most useful commands, but there are also more, and it's up to everyone to check some commands and man pages online. So Let's try kinit command, which obtains or renews and cache Kerberos ticket. So kinit administrator, kinit administrator. So this now we are checking if our Kerberos settings is correct. And if there's no error message, it should be okay, but we will verify it with klist command. So klist is klist is second command, which will give us location our ticket and who granted us our ticket, so administrator, and our Active Directory domain tstdom01.local, and when we got our ticket and when it will expire, and so also when we have to renew our ticket. So here are some nice information about Kerberos ticket, and we can also list our tickets, klist -l. So here is our ticket which we have. We can have more tickets in case if we join more domains, for example, and we can check klist -d -e. This command will show also encryption type of the ticket. -e means show the encryption type. So that's additional info to this klist command. So it's up to everyone to check other options in klist man pages. So now, what if we want leave domain? So if we want to leave domain, we do net-ads leave -u administrator. So now we left domain. Now if we want to join domain back, we can do net-ads join, and if we have more, if we want to be member of more domains, we can specify also the domain controller server tstAddc1 in our case, and the username administrator. So now we join domain. We can, of course, we can leave domain again. And join domain again, and we don't need to specify Active Directory domain controller. We don't need to, because it's in etc samba smb.conf file. And now another interesting commands are, let's say, if we wanna register our DNS, if it fails for some reason during join, we can register DNS later. So net-ads DNS register. -p, and we successfully registered our host name with DNS, and we can do also net ads info, which displays details on remote ADS server. Output of this command is LDAP server name, realm, LDAP port, which is default LDAP port 389 in our scenario, server time, KDC, Kerberos Key Distribution Center, and server time offset. Very important is this offset. Yeah, we can check offset also, time offset, even with ntpdate command against our IP address of our tstdom01.local domain controller. Okay, we need to stop our ntpd before. ntpd, and now we can run our ntpdate command again. So here is some very small offset, only about 17 milliseconds. That's 0 here in netads info. So what we can do now, we can check other commands like net ads lookup. This command will find domain controller using clw lookup. It will provide us with information about our domain controller. Response type is logon underscore sum underscore logon underscore response underscore ex. We can see here GUID, global unique identifier, in output of this command. Then it answers some questions like, is it a primary domain controller? Is it a global catalog of the forest? So global catalog is located on domain controller. It may contain information about the domain in which domain controller exists, along with other information about any other domains that exist within the same forest. Information about the subdomains or any other accessible domains in the same forest must also be listed in global catalog in order for domain controller to maintain itself across all domains. Then it asks and answers if is it LDAP server, if it supports DS, if is it running KDC, Key Distribution Center. Key Distribution Center is a network service that supplies session tickets and temporary session keys to users and computers within an Active Directory domain. The KDC run on each domain controller as part of Active Directory services. Then it asks and answers if it is running time services, if is it closest domain controller, if is it writable, if it has hardware clock. Then it asks if is it NT6 domain controller that has all secrets. Then it says name of the forest, which is tstdom01.local in our case. Then it says the name of our domain, which is tstdom01.local as well. It says domain controller name, which is tstaddc1.tstdom01.local, and the pre-Windows 2000 domain name. NT version, which is 5 in our case. So another input is useful command is net ads status, which has long output, so we need to pipe it to more. This command displays useful information about your status and machine account details retrieved from the Active Directory primary domain controller. The volume of information is extensive. It displays status information on the remote system's machine account. This information is intended mainly for developers. Testjoin is more appropriate for typical administrators, but we can still use it to verify that the server has joined the domain. And another command which we used is getent passwd, which will give us our Active Directory users as well. If we are interested only about particular user, we can filter it, specify this user, so tstdom01 backslash and tst user01, for example. So now for groups, getent group, we have here our groups, and very the same like with users, we can ask only for some particular group. So we got this group, and we can use our normal Linux commands like id tst user01 or groups tst user01. So we see that tst user01 is member of tst grp01 and domain users group, and also here we see in id, output of id command, we see tst user01 user id and groups, default group, and groups which user is member. So then we have that wbinfo commands, -p to ping Winbind if it is running, -u to query for users, -g to query for groups. Now we have -i command, let's say tst user01, and we see user01 details like shell and home directory and full name and primary group id and user id. Okay, but if we want to test password, we do wbinfo -a tst user01 and % password, which is p for ssw0rd123, and it says that password authentication challenge succeed if we put some wrong password. it will say that could not authenticate. So this is how we can verify our password with wbinfo-a command. So now we have wbinfo-t, which checks the trust secret for domain, and we have also wbinfo-r and tst user 01 command, which will give us back groups of which user tst user 01 is member. So group ID 6125, and this second one is actually that domain users group ID. So that's it. So you have to also show some initiative and check online for other important and useful commands. What I want to show you now is how to flush cache, because you may need it. So Winbind cache is procedure is like this. First we need to stop Winbind, systemctl stop Winbind, and systemctl stop smb to stop samba and stop nmb netbios, and then we can flush netcache flush. So this command netcache flush will flush our cache, and we also need to remove some files in varlib samba directory. So cd varlib samba, and here basically we need to remove everything what's tdb. So rm-f star dot tbd db database db, and also group mapping ldb file, which can be around in some Samba implementations. TDB stands for Trivial Database, and LDB is an embedded LDAP-like database. We don't have LDB files in our scenario, but please make sure that you will remove also group_mapping.ldb file if you have it in your environment. And then now, once everything is removed, we need to start Winbind again, but in reverse order. So first we start netbios, then samba and Winbind at the end. So systemctl start nmb start smb and start Winbind. And now if we would query with, let's say, wbinfo command again, or Active Directory domain controller, our cache would have to be start to build again. So let's check what we have here now. Yeah, our files such as started to be recreated now. with the same timestamp. And you see that cache file was just updated and some other files. So this was the most important and useful commands, and it's up to you to check other very important and useful commands online and in man pages. Thanks for watching, guys. Please leave questions and comments below, like my video and subscribe. Thanks for watching.